Hi guys, welcome to another episode of AB and the Films. Let's talk about Tim Burton's Corpse Bride.
He's married to a corpse. What a cutie.
You should have seen him with fur.
Tim Burton's Corpse Bride.
This is gonna be good.
I have a little story to go with this movie. Now, before I get into the story, I just want to say I love this movie. This is one of my favorite Tim Burton movies. I watch it every Halloween. I'm sure a lot of you do. But I remember when this came out. This came out 15 years ago. I still can't believe it's been 15 years. Okay, because it feels like it wasn't that long ago. But it was 15 years ago. I was 12. September 23rd, 2005. I remember the day specifically because I was counting down the weeks before this came out. Now, I want to let you guys know something about me here. I did not grow up watching Nightmare Before Christmas as a kid. That movie came out the year I was born, and I remember seeing ads for it, and it was on TV every Halloween, and I knew Tim Burton worked on it. You know, it's funny, Tim Burton gets a lot of credit for that movie, but he didn't direct it. Henry Selick directed it, but it's still called Tim Burton's The Nightmare Before Christmas. But his thumbprints are all over it. I mean, it was his production, but he didn't direct it. A lot of people forget that, you know. But I did not grow up watching The Nightmare Before Christmas. The stop-motion animated film that Tim Burton worked on that I grew up with was James and the Giant Peach. That one I have a bond with because I watched that movie hundreds of times as a kid when it first came out. Okay, I still have it on video. I've been watching that videotape ever since I first got it in, October, November of 1996? You know, so I've had it a long time. And I grew up watching that movie. I did. I loved it.
On.
Yeah, I loved it that much. So, Corpse Bride comes out, and a lot of people are saying, oh, this is going to be like Nightmare Before Christmas again, and I was very excited to see this, because 2 months before this came out, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory came out, the Tim Burton remake of Willy Wonka. And I remember thinking, oh, this is so cool, because I was 12 years old. I wanted to be a movie maker. I was interested in movie directors, and Tim Burton was definitely one of them. And I remember thinking, oh, this is great. Tim Burton has 2 movies out in the same year. This is so cool. So when Corpse Bride came out, in the weeks leading up to it, at this time, for those who are too young to remember, at this time, the internet was starting to release not just movie trailers for movies that were new, but movie clips. And YahooMovies.com, I went on this website almost every week, just watching movie clips. And these movie clips, they would show movie clips from the movie that was either coming to theaters or if it was in theaters. But the clips would only be like maybe 50 seconds or maybe a minute long. They wouldn't be that long. But I thought, this is cool. I'm seeing pieces of the movie before it comes in theaters or while it's in theaters, because YouTube was not a thing yet. It wasn't, you know? So it was a different time. And it's weird that I say this even though it was only 15 years ago, but it really was a different time, you guys. So in the weeks leading up to Corpse Bride's release, if you went on CorpseBride.com, the soundtrack was out. Now, Danny Elfman, who I think has worked on almost every Tim Burton movie ever made, he's certainly written a lot of the songs. I mean, he did the songs for Nightmare Before Christmas, did the songs for Corpse Bride. And they had the soundtrack on the Corpse Bride website, because I think the soundtrack had already been released. But I'm listening to the song. Now, picture this, okay? I'm 12 years old. I'm listening to the songs from Corpse Bride for the very first time. Some of the songs are okay. There's only 4 songs, really. I mean, if you don't include the music score. But the one song that got my attention was Remains of the Day. And I gotta tell you, That song, because I've always been a fan of musicals. For forever, okay? Since I was like 3, 4 years old, I've always loved musicals, especially musical numbers that have jazz in them. And if you have like a really hip, kind of cool kind of character that's gonna break out into song, and you have a lot of good sequences, or a lot of good music and lights and flashes, and it helps tell the story, chances are 9 times out of 10 I'm gonna love that. Well, I heard this song without seeing the clip, okay? And remember, this is like 3 weeks before the movie came out. So this was in August. And I remember thinking, oh, wow. Like, because I would watch the trailer for Corpse Bride, because the trailer was out, and I would try to piece together how this scene, Remains of the Day, would look. So I would just play that song constantly, you guys. I knew that song backwards and forwards. I was playing that song every day in my bedroom on the computer constantly. And I would think of how they would start this scene or how it would come in. And here, this was the fun part, okay? Are you ready for it? I am not kidding you. This is 1,000% real. Before the movie came out, I remember thinking in my head, I wonder, you know what? I can totally see how this scene starts out. Okay, they're in this kind of dark club, I think, because at this point they had already. I'll get to it in a second. They had already released the last minute of the Remains of the Day song. So I saw the end of that, but I didn't see how it started and most of the middle of the song. Because the clip that they had released was, well, it started with this part.
Then next to the graveyard by the old oak tree, on a dark foggy night at 2:45, she was ready to go.
And it goes on until the end. Now, I was thinking to myself, okay, Bone Jangles is the one singing it. He's got that kind of gruffy kind of voice, you know, but he's very, and then I would see him in the trailer.
A tragic tale of romance, passion, and a murder most foul.
And I remember watching that in the trailers, and I just remember thinking, you know what? I can imagine him saying like, all right, boys, let's hit it. And then the song would start. So when I went to go to the movies, and that scene came up,
Hit it, boys.
I was like, like, that part I predicted. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that is 1,000% real. Before the movie came out, I predicted that he would say that. And I kind of knew, and I was wondering when the song was going to come up when I saw Corpse Bride for the first time. So I'm sitting there, and we get to the part where Johnny Depp's asking a lot of questions. Where am I? And then the Corpse Bride, she's like, well, that's kind of a long story. And I'm like, okay, here's where they'll sing it. And then Bone Jangles, what a story it is. And then and I just had the biggest smile on my face. And here's something else. My sister knew I was obsessed with that song because I would play it constantly a month before the movie came out. I remember she sat in front. It was my dad took me and my sister and her friend, and she and her friend sat in front of us in the theater. The minute the song came up, my sister turned around and did this to me. You know, because she knew I was obsessed with this song. And the song, they do the thing in Remains of the Day. That is hands down my favorite scene in that movie. Hands down, that's the best scene in the movie for me. When Bone Jangles sings Remains of the Day. That was the best scene in that flick. And I still think that's the best. That's still my favorite scene in the whole movie. So let's talk about the movie. Enough about me. So I loved it. I absolutely loved it, you guys. This is one of the Halloween classics that I watch every year. Brings back a lot of memories when I watch it now. And they were showing little clips from the trailer because, guys, I watched the trailer and some of the clips that they released on YahooMovies.com constantly for a month, and I would try to reenact. I would try to act out the scene Remains of the Day before I saw the film. Because I remember thinking, okay, this scene, okay, this line is here. I wonder how they're going to shoot this. Is the lighting going to be this way? And half of what I predicted is what I saw in the movie when I finally saw the movie. But I was shocked that I predicted that line, that he would say that line before the movie begins, or before the song begins, and that's what happened. And I was great minds think alike, right? But I really love this movie. I think, personally, I think it's better than Nightmare Before Christmas. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me on that. And I have seen Nightmare Before Christmas, and I do love it. Trust me, I love that movie too. But I did not grow up with it. I didn't grow up with it. I feel I would have a stronger connection with Nightmare Before Christmas had I grown up with it. But I didn't. I didn't see that movie until I was well into my teen years, you know. If anything, James and the Giant Peach I have a bond with, and Corpse Bride, because I saw it when I was a kid, and I watched it every Halloween after that. Stop motion is great. Love the performances in this. I just love the whole stop motion and the Gothic era. I mean, this is obviously during the Victorian era. You wonder why his name is Victor and her name is Victoria. There's a reason for that. But I love this movie. It seems to me that the land of the dead is more alive than the land of the living. You know what I'm saying? And I really, really enjoy this movie, you guys. I mean, what else can you say? It's Corpse Bride. I mean, it's a really clever idea. Great songs, especially Remains of the Day. Yeah, I love this movie. I watch it every Halloween, and I totally recommend this movie, hands down. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out, especially that song sequence. And I will see you guys in the next review. Take care.